Well, hi, it's such an honor to be here today, to be ordained in this church. And I just wanted to take a moment to share a little bit about my faith journey with you. Even as a little kid, I was the guy always carrying around a camcorder, taking pictures, and making web pages before everybody had a web page, before the days of Facebook and Tumblr and blogs. And it's really interesting to see how God had been training me and preparing me for ministry, even as a little kid, even through those trivial, fun things that I was doing. I grew up in the church, at a Southern Baptist church, and heard the gospel clearly at a very young age and accepted that as part of One Vacation Bible School ministry. So when I was young, I accepted by faith that Jesus was my only source of righteousness. And later on, I began attending a Reformed Bible study at a Presbyterian church, and that helped take my faith to the next level, where I kind of began to understand how pieces of the Bible fit together, how passage A would make sense in light of passage B, and how it would really answer my deepest questions. As I got my own questions answered, I learned how to answer other people's questions about the faith, and that was really a neat time in my life. And that was really one of the biggest growth spurts in my faith. Later on in life, another growth spurt happened in my faith when I discovered Christian music. And even at that time, I wasn't trying to sing or anything, but I learned there was a Christian radio station. And I learned that through music and melodies and rhythms, I could cement these important truths about God into my brain. You know how it is when you hear a song and 50 years later you can still be singing the words, because God has kind of made us that way, that when we sing a song, it just cements those truths to who we are. And after college, I went into my first career, which was in TV news. Learned all about how to professionally videotape things, how to speak, how to write. And after that, I went into the field of church communications. I worked at Westminster Church as their communications director for a while, and then became the worship and media guy at a church plant called the Wade Center. From the Wade Center, Scott Vanderplug called me out of the blue. One day my phone rang and the guy said, "My name is Scott Vanderplug, I'm calling from Florida, and I hear you like to do worship and media." And so we began talking for about an hour a week, like every week for several months. And eventually it just became evident that our hearts were very much aligned in ministry approach and in passions. And if you know anything about Scott, people always mistake us for brothers. And one time, somebody mistook me for his child. So apparently, even though we're only 1 year apart, I still look much younger and more handsome than he. So after Scott and I had been talking on the phone for so long, it became evident that the next step was just for me to come down and visit. And so 1 year ago today, on Palm Sunday, 2011, I visited and I heard the worship band play "Jesus Paid It All." Jesus paid it all. And it was in that special moment that I just really sensed God was calling me here. It's a special place where I would be able to use all my gifts and work with so many special people to help them use their gifts. To interface as part of a staff that includes a guy who's going to help me with the videos and a person who's going to work on the print and web end of design. Work with talented youth and children's ministry leaders like Aaron and Holly, and to have a lot of other volunteers like Tommy, who's helping me tape this right now. And as well as the tech team, people like Doug and Kevin and Corey, and the worship band filled with marvelous musicians. We're just surrounded in this church by so many people who God has gifted so richly. And that's kind of my ministry goal here, is just to help people develop their gifts and to free them for service and to do what God has equipped them to do. That's kind of what I hope is the theme of my time here, is just enabling people to use their God-given gifts to serve the kingdom and to advance the Lord's kingdom here in Port St. Lucie.
It's been a great joy working with Bill since he's been here in the worship team, and congratulations, Bill.
It's been a pleasure working side by side with Bill and the media team and all the projects we have coming up, and I believe and I know he's going to make it a great associate pastor.
Yeah, we've enjoyed many laughs. We've been able to get to know him as not only associate pastor, but his friend, and his family, his wonderful wife, Jessie. We're thankful she's here as well. And so we welcome you.
I'm just so happy Bill and Jess are with us. They're wonderful, and we just welcome them to our community and to our church. Congratulations, Billy.
He's taught me a lot. He's got more degrees than a thermometer. I think the future of worship and media are in good hands with him in control.
It's been a long road that Bill's gone on, a journey that God's been bringing him through, and I'm really convinced that God has called him to this. He's absolutely qualified, and it's an exciting time for our church, and so congratulations, Bill.